You have one coconut milk. Do you want it to add another one or just that one? It's like a time. If you guys have what's the last name?
You're welcome. Hi, Skylar. Hi. Good to see you. This is Cyril. Cyril, nice to meet you. I have drink after you. Just share your name. Okay. I think just give them. Thank you, darling. I appreciate you. Thank you. Do you guys have
hello.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Did you give me your entry? Attention. Thank you. So we're gonna start right now. Thank you guys again for coming in. So the first thing we want to start with is to we're gonna start with Dr. Amy. I would like her to introduce herself before I ask her a few questions to kind of set up the whole thing. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. My name is Dr. Amy Spizloco. I'm a board-certified dermatologist here in New York City. I've been practicing for about 15 years. I have my own practice for 6 years called True Dermatology. And Omolola reached out to me and asked me if I could share my insights on sensitive skin with the group. And I know she's got a beautiful line that she's starting with sensitive skincare in mind. So thank you for having me. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
Thank you so much. The first question I do have for you, Dr. Amy, is what is the most common mistakes people make with sensitive skin?
So some common mistakes people make with sensitive skin are not being aware of your full skin condition. For example, there are a lot of people out there that suffer from eczema, which is a really sensitive skin condition, or even rosacea. A lot of people aren't even aware that they have that. So not knowing your skin type by seeing a dermatologist or any kind of healthcare provider that can advise you, that's one mistake. But then two, I always recommend against doing too many different actives and too many products all at the same time. We have this joke in dermatology, we say KISS, keep it simple, stupid. It's kind of there, but it makes a lot of sense. You know, we have people who want to do a full-on 10-step skin routine, and it's just not necessary. So those are common mistakes that I see people making all the time when it comes to skincare.
Okay, I have a question. Sure.
Basically, before we get to questions, sorry, my apologies. I want to know, so I can ask another question, then before we open the floor.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Another question I have for you, yes, is quickly, how can someone recognize when their skin barrier is damaged? Because I think that's an issue that people have. They don't know when the skin barrier is weak.
Right. So again, like I mentioned, knowing your skin type, you know, by seeing a board-certified dermatologist or your healthcare provider just to help, even an esthetician, someone who works with your skin, explaining to you your skin type. And two, when you have a disrupted skin barrier, your skin is going to feel very sensitive. So anytime you apply any kind of skincare products, it's going to burn or tingle or sting. So you know your skincare barrier is somewhat disrupted, or it's going to be flaky and dry and feel red. So all of those things can contribute to a disrupted skin barrier.
Please go on your question.
Sure. I'm gonna ask a question I always have in my mind. There's a lot of products right now. I mean, we are just overwhelmed with the assortment, right? And I'm using also like new products, but sometimes my skin reacts very sensitive. I have super sensitive, almost like transparent skin, and and also I have like grandmothers and grandfathers who advise you just put avocado on your face, put a cucumber on your eye, and you're good. You know what? And with second option, it works better for me because my skin feels nourished and everything. And whenever I put like Vichy or La Mer or stuff like that, after that my skin just feels like, you know, irritated, like I put like perfume on it or something.
So the reason why the avocado, or even my background is Italian American, we use olive oil in everything. So the reason why those things are good for sensitive skin is because it's oils, and oils help keep the skin barrier intact because it's a similar pH that's normal to our skin, and it also keeps hydration and locks in moisture. So that's why your family were saying that. But when you use too many different products, it's the alcohols that are in them, it's the fragrances, and all of those things can contribute to irritating your skin, making it more sensitive and disrupting that skin barrier. So again, you want to kind of go back to keeping it simple.
Keep kiss principle.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And then do, just oils or lotions or creams that are based in water,
Right.
because that's going to keep your skin feeling hydrated. I also always recommend, if you get a new product line or a new skincare routine, do one product at a time for a week and see if you can tolerate it, and then slowly, like 1 week later, introduce another product so you can know what is causing an irritation, if there is.
Right. And what's the difference? I mean, there is a serum, there is a cream, different types of. I'm a normal human being, I don't really know the difference. So serum, what's the actual use in it and why it's so advertised right now?
So it depends on what's in the serum. There's a lot that have all different ingredients. For example, vitamin C is in a lot of serums. Retinol are in a lot of serums. And those are for different reasons. But a lot of people do have sensitivities to those products. So again, if you're going to start using those, I would say do one at a time, weekly in your routine. But the thing about serums is they're more liquidy and more solution-based. So they're meant to go on in the beginning of your routine, more of like your first or second step, so it gets absorbed. And then you'll put on your lotions or your creams or your oils after that to kind of lock in those benefits. Yep. To lock in those benefits if you are doing like a retinol at bedtime. You want to put your retinol serum on, and then you want to lock it in with a moisturizing cream.
I'm sorry, that's going to be touched.
I see a lot of people bring up the whole thing of, avoiding alcohol. So what's the significance of avoiding alcohol specifically? Is it that it dries your skin, or is it like...
It dries your skin and it strips your skin of natural ceramides, and you need ceramides in your skincare barrier to keep your skin barrier intact. So alcohols will denature that and strip away and then cause that irritation on your skin.
So is it kind of like a natural oil kind of thing? Or
The alcohol is not. Alcohol is going to take away the natural oils. Yeah, because it's drying.
But why do they put it?
Just to add to what he just said, one of the things we're trying to do for Ashiri Beauty is we don't have alcohol in it. Because based on research, we realized that it's obviously going to strip away a lot, and also going to have to kind of add a lot of damage to someone who has sensitive skincare. So those are some of the things that we made sure we don't have. I think it also serves as a preservative for some of the skincare brands, and we don't have preservative in all we're doing. That's why it's kind of a hassle.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So you can do that.
I have another question. I mean, everybody's so, I'm a girl over 35, so, I mean, we're getting on the older phase and stuff, so we want collagen, right? All of the creams, this outside, they tell us, oh, this is collagen, infused cream and stuff. Is it really possible to infuse it through skin outside, or not?
I think the jury's out. Some people say yes, some people say no, but if you want to build collagen, there are better ingredients that can be part of your skincare routine.
Okay.
Quick question.
I mean, I can eat it, but outside, I don't think it's going to just absorb.
No, we're not even sure too if you eat it, if you ingest it. Yeah, we're not sure if your stomach acid will break it down and if it actually gets to
It's not your collagen. It's
right.
usually
Right, so
collagen
you just
anyways.
exclude it anyway.
Does anybody in our Zoom have a question?
Yeah.
We're open to some questions. Anyone in Zoom?
I will shut up.
No, that's a question.
You're probably
One
asking
other
questions.
question I have for you is what single routine? Because I know, like you mentioned, like there's so many things out there going on when it comes to taking care of your skin. So what simple routine would you recommend for someone dealing with sensitive skin or irritations?
So you want to wash your skin to get the natural, you know, free radicals off your skin, especially in New York City, the pollution and just the oils, and even just to get the makeup off your skin. So I never recommend foaming cleansers because they have sodium lauryl sulfate, and that again naturally strips your natural oils and your natural ceramides from your skin. So using like an oil-based cleanser is where you can go so that you still keep that hydration and you're not damaging your skin barrier. So that's a start of a simple routine. And then I always recommend moisturizers that have things that will help repair and enhance your barrier. So anything that has ceramides in it, because that will enhance your skin barrier. Anything that has hyaluronic acid, because that will add hydration. Aloe vera is great for soothing and calming. Niacinamide, again, there's some nice antioxidant properties. So keeping it simple, using cleansers that are pH balanced for your skin, such as oil cleansers, and then keeping a nice hydration using those ingredients that I mentioned to lock in that moisture and hydration. So just keeping things simple with, you know, cleansing your skin and then hydrating.
I have a quick question, I'm sorry. When it comes to periods, I have kind of combination skin where it can have oil production but dryness in certain acids. Do you still think that oil-based cleansers would still be beneficial? And also maybe ask if they're acne prone, because that's another concern, especially as you get older. If you have like adult acne, that could be a big area of concern. So.
I still think oil cleansers are best.
Yes?
I do.
What are brands that you can, you know, that are kind of similar to what we're going to have, say?
So brands that have nice oil cleansers, La Roche-Posay has a bunch. CeraVe has a bunch.
Okay.
So those two I would start with, yeah.
What we're going to use.
We waited. Of course.
While you're waiting.
While we're waiting, you have something else to use. Any other question? I have another question for. So I have this question. Why does sometimes people, like I personally never knew I had sensitive skincare. I don't think I had sensitive skincare. So why is that suddenly someone just has sensitive skin issue? Which is something I never thought I had. So what causes that situation whereby you switch from your regular skin and next thing you have a sensitive skincare issue?
I think as we get older, our skin changes. Not as we even get older. As just our time goes on, you know, our skin turns over. Different things affect us differently. Here in New York, seasons, we have one of the coldest winters we've ever had. So, I mean, all my patients who normally look for acne under control have flares. So acne under control have flares. So I think it's your environment. One, it's two, just as time goes on, your skin starts to change and evolve in different ways. And then three, stress. Stress is a huge contributor to anything that's going on in our skin. And I don't know about you guys here in New York, but I mean, does anybody have stress? So many things that play a role. And that's also important too, to go see your dermatologist or your physician or even your esthetician so they can help you evaluate the changes that are going on in your skin and how to address them.
Excuse me? Is food on that list also or no?
It can be, but usually people have food allergies when you know when you're younger. Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions before I go on to a question I have?
I have a question. What about someone with oily skin, naturally oily skin?
What's the question about it?
Like, what's a good routine for someone with their skin is naturally oily?
So I would say you don't necessarily have to use like an oil cleanser, but a cleanser that doesn't have sodium lauryl sulfate, like not a foaming one. So just a gentle skin cleanser. A lot of like, I don't know if I want to say brands, but you know, some of them are also naturally have like glycerin in there, which is gentle and pH balanced for your skin. So things like that are also great for combination skin as well.
What about like dandruff building around your hair?
What's that?
Dandruff building.
Yeah, no, same, but maybe it's a different combination with shampoos.
Yeah, shampoos. Okay. Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So I have this question. Sometimes our skin purge and it's different from, and sometimes you have irritation. How do you know which is which, and how does that bucket into sensitive skin care issue?
Like skin purge, like acne purge, or
Purge. I think like acne purges, and sometimes you just have a lot of things on your face. But it's not really irritation, it's something that needs to happen. So how do you know the difference so you can know how to better solve this and bucket if it's really sensitive skin?
Again, it's always good to have a dermatologist on hand that can help you manage your skin because, like we were saying, your skin kind of changes over time, and a lot of people have combination skin. Honestly, more often people have combination skin than just oily or just dry. So again, getting back to basics of making sure you're not using ingredients that are sensitizing, like fragrances, preservatives, alcohols. And even, knowing if vitamin C is appropriate for you or retinol. And then two, just getting back to using things that are made for people with sensitive skin that help hydrate, like we were saying, niacinamide, hyaluronic acid, and you mentioned Centella asiatica, which is kind of like in trending right now. Yeah, for hydration and moisturizing, aloe vera, things like that. So it sounds like combination skin when you're having all these different things happening.
We have this Korean products with the snail extract and something else like in them. I'm trying to use. I mean, is it salmon sperm? Yeah. Is that really a thing? I mean,
It's a thing.
does it help or is it just fast?
It's not that it doesn't. I don't think it's really proven that it's amazing for sensitive skin. But like I said, if you do want to try something new, just do one at a time.
Yeah.
Give it a week and then see how your skin responds to it.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So they're claiming that you can use the oil cleanser to get out blackheads. Is that true?
Maybe not to get out blackheads, but it can definitely help keep the oils off your skin and not allow or help minimize your pores from getting clogged. For sure. Yeah.
So I have this question for you. I know you already mentioned about how we have to keep trying before we know what's really good for us. So I think it's still in the area of that. So do we need to be consistent? So how should we be consistent in order to care for our skincare? Like for example, I'm using a new skincare product. Sometimes I drop on the weight. But what level of consistency in order to improve my skin?
I would say if you're using an active, I would start out a little bit slowly. We do like a slow start, like 3 times a week, like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and do that for a good 3 weeks to see how your skin responds. But if you're trying a new eye cream or a new moisturizer, being consistent for at least 2 weeks to see how your skin responds to it, to make sure you're not having any irritations or reactions, is your best bet. But doing something once a week is not really going to really benefit to your routine.
Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
What are some suggestions if you want to use like an oatmeal-based cream or lotion or cleanser?
Like how to use them or when to incorporate them in your routine?
Yeah.
But we do recommend colloidal oatmeal is definitely good for soothing the skin and for hydrating and keeping a good pH balance.
And to reduce irritation.
And to reduce, inflammation, exactly. So those are usually good as moisturizers. I haven't seen too many washes. There are some oatmeal baths that they make, but I think as a nighttime moisturizer.
Any specific brands that you suggest?
Aveeno is probably most well known for oatmeal. Yeah, really nice oatmeal. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you have a question, please?
Yeah, one more question.
Yeah.
I shave often. You may have brought it up. My skin gets really irritated. How can I avoid like pseudofolliculitis? How can I avoid that?
So when you're shaving, you want to use something that's hydrating and moisturizing, either a soap or a shaving cream. And then if you're using a blade, you want to go with the grain, not against the grain. Help minimize too. And then afterwards, you want to use a nice moisturizer that is going to be pH balanced with your skin, and that's going to restore the barrier, like we were saying, ceramides, hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, even oatmeal moisturizers, aloe vera, things like that to help keep that barrier intact.
Is that like particular to how frequently I'm shaving, or is it just like any time I do?
Every time you shave, you should do that, yeah. Yeah.
Does anyone have any question? Please.
I think you mentioned that everything shown has a way that's something I've done periodically using, and it's supposed to be for sensitive skin. Is that a good So in my opinion, and a lot of dermatologists' opinion, a lot of people can't tolerate azelaic acid. It can be sensitizing.
It does like
Typically,
the first few times, like,
yeah.
and after if I stop it for a week or so and put it on, it's like stings me. So I think it doesn't.
avoiding that I shouldn't be using it?
So prescription strength is usually between 15 and 20%, and that's pretty high. A lot of the over-the-counter ones can be lower, and that I think you can tolerate a little bit better. It's usually formulated as a gel because that's how it formulates better. You can find more of a cream base, or if you can just make sure you put a nice hydrating cream on top, you have a better chance of being able to use it. We can do something called the sandwich technique a lot if you're going to use an active that can be irritating. So you put your moisturizer on first, wait a few minutes, and then put your active, and then a moisturizer on top. So it will work if you're azelaic acid. It'll get absorbed, but it's less of a shock to your skin if you have a little bit of a barrier at first. Yeah.
That sounds similar.
Exactly. Yep.
The ordinary was a cream version.
Oh, azelaic acid, yeah.
I used that one.
Yeah.
I was using like zero. Like, it was it a gel? Type the cream is a way better. Like it's not. I don't know. It doesn't stain or anything. I feel like you can feel it working.
And that's okay because the gels have alcohol in them too, so they can be quick drying. So the azelaic acid is a little irritating, and then the vehicle, the gel, can the creams and
I would try
better.
and it's cheap. It's
Just
like $10.
just to add to that, we actually do have azelaic acid as one of the things we're using. But one of the key things our official dermatologist mentioned when we're trying to put together the formula was to make sure it was lower than 15% because of the acid. And also we're trying to make it skin cream based. And another thing also is very dosage friendly. So you take by, so you don't overuse it. So we have a capsule base. So you use so you're not overusing, because overusing also can, I believe, affect.
So another thing we always say too, less is more, especially with your topical retinol or retinoid. You want to use a pea-sized amount for your whole face, and it's going to be the same with azelaic acid. Everyone gets excited, they get a new skincare routine, and they layer, just throw it on. But you can't with it's hard. You're excited, but with new products and actives, you really have to be in a small dose. And your capsules sound amazing for helping people make doses. Yeah, takes the guesswork.
Yes, and I think another thing that we when we're brainstorming about it that we like about it is the fact that even from a preservative standpoint, if you want to protect the product itself, when we use most of our product, we dip in. But with the capsule, you're not dipping, because when you dip in, you're putting more germs into it, which again can add to some of things that causes skin irritation. And also the portion control also, it helps us so we're not overusing. And also just even travel friendly. It's easy for you to take what you really need with you when you're traveling, but also making sure we avoid, because we're not putting preservative, so it's what you really need that you open and use for yourself. Right.
Great.
Any other question? Please ask questions.
So, how you're always recommending double cleansing, but would you suggest it as an everyday thing or something that you don't have to once every 2 days?
If you're wearing a lot of makeup, I definitely think you want to get the makeup off first. So use the cleanser that will help with the makeup remover.
Pull it out.
Yeah, and then you can use a gentle cleanser just to get the natural oils off your skin.
Because I would just feel like you just go out to New York and then you don't need no makeup, you just have a lot of you, just being around New York. So you feel like there's so much. But I also feel that if I do it every day, then I'll almost overdoing it.
Yeah.
So, that's
Yeah,
what
so you can do kind of like your Sunday cleanse, like even though we're out today, but most people are, just getting ready for the week on Sunday, so that could be like your gentle cleanse day. And then, during the week, double cleanse when you have makeup on or if you're running around and doing a lot of things here in the city.
I have a question to add to what you just mentioned on makeup. Can makeup actually worsen your skin issues? Are there specific makeups that you recommend using to reduce skin sensitivity?
Yes, I always recommend mineral makeups because the minerals and the powders don't get so absorbed in your skin and can clog pores and lead to blemishes and skin sensitization. So any kind of mineral makeup is what we recommend.
Sorry, I work in the they don't always look good, so it's hard to find those. There's some beauty brands. I don't know if you've heard of Jones Road. But I worked here for a while, so I have some of their tinted moisturizers and stuff. They're good. And
It's probably here, right? Did she start Jones Road?
but yeah,
Also, Credo is like super expensive, but if you just go to Credo and look at what products they have, all of their products are super clean. So, and you can kind of test out which ones are right.
What necessarily is like a clean brand versus not? I know Sephora obviously has those kind of like little markers. I guess like what is like the threshold for that? What kind of qualifies?
I know, I think there's different levels of clean. Because some of them are cruelty-free and vegan.
Right, it's like
and things
ethics of
that.
production versus
Yeah.
the actual products.
Right.
But like, is it like an alcohol level? You know what I mean? Versus.
I don't think there's an actual level. I think it has to do with how many flavors and fragrances are into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like better for your skin. It's just less added time. Which makes sense. Yeah, right. By default. Yeah.
And there's EU standards versus US.
So two questions.
standards
Have higher standards.
Yeah, I do agree to the EU standard, and I feel also our lab is the lab produces it. So obviously they're following the US standard, but they're also following standard that does fit in eventually decide to do it. So I do agree that even when it comes to food, the standard for even food also is different from what we even have here when it comes to the FDA and all of that.
You also mentioned like eating collagen is kind of your study-wise, and like I'm sure we've all seen the kind of like Puritan medical thing. Is that just like eating healthy is good for your skin, basically? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Drink water. Eat fruits and vegetables. Yeah.
Avoiding alcohol, avoiding coffee, avoiding even matcha because
Avoid the sun.
very health and toxic at the same time.
Okay.
How often would you recommend washing makeup brushes, and what are like the side effects if you go extended periods of time without brushing or without cleaning your makeup brushes?
Case by case, some people wash their brushes every week, some people every month. So it just depends. If you're starting to feel like your skin is getting irritated, then, figure out your routine on that. But I do think it is important to wash the makeup brushes. Probably once a year, get a whole new set of brushes. I think it's really individualized. So if you do have food allergies, obviously you want to avoid those foods. Work with an allergist or dermatologist or your PCP to figure out what those allergies are. As far as gut health goes, there's still so many studies out on what's going to be effective with skin and gut relationship. But I think it's always best to work with a physician to know what's specific for you because everyone has different allergies and different sensitivities in that aspect.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question about a particular product. It's peeling. It's a green product. Whenever you apply, you kind of, get the skin immediately peeled. So it's not like a procedure that you go to like facial peelings, but it's like you just apply this product and it's like just peels off everything like instantly.
Is it meant to be an exfoliant?
I'm sorry?
Is it meant to be an exfoliant to exfoliate and peel your skin?
Yeah, it's peeling. It's a Korean. I don't know if you ever tried it. I mean, is it safe? That's what I'm wondering.
I'd have to know what it was to give you a better answer. I'm not familiar with.
One question I could help direct what she's saying is, generally, do you think exfoliating is good for sensitive skin?
So yes and no. Yeah. So yes and no. It depends on which exfoliant it is. I don't often recommend the physical exfoliants, if that's the way to say it, the ones with like the scrubs. I don't typically recommend that for face, especially if you have sensitive skin. Maybe for body, certain conditions like keratosis pilaris, it's good for like that condition. Yeah. You have that, yeah? But for face, like an alpha hydroxy acid or a beta hydroxy acid, for sensitive skin, I would recommend trying it once. Give it a week, see how it goes, and then if you can tolerate it, then start to incorporate it in your skincare routine. But there are some products and some brands and some lower percentages that can be okay for sensitive skin. For example, polyhydroxy acids, those are the larger molecule ones that don't really get absorbed. Those are better for sensitive skin when it comes to exfoliants and alpha hydroxy acids. The PHAs. Yeah. So glycolic acid is an AHA, and it depends on the strength if you can tolerate it, but I would start with the PHA before we get into the AHAs. But glycolic acid is a fruit acid, which is a more similar pH to our skin, which should be more tolerable. Yeah.
This might get detailed in Koreans, but what are your thoughts on the overnight cell masks? Like,
I think it depends. No, I mean, I love overnight masks. I love, you know, a lot of them can be really hydrating and moisturizing and help with the skin barrier, but it depends on the ingredients in them.
Also relating to the overnight mask, I've been trying to use one that has citric acid and turmeric that's without spots. Yeah, usually about
Yeah, no, I love kojic acid, and most people can tolerate it who have hyperpigmentation. The other thing that you said was
turmeric.
with turmeric. So turmeric is meant to be anti-inflammatory too, so a lot of people can tolerate it. But I would say, start out slow, see how it goes, and then see if we can work it into your routine. But typically most people with sensitive skin can tolerate it.
What are the two flavors?
Yeah, of course.
I have some questions. So
Okay.
eczema questions.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily deal with eczema, but I have people in my life that deal with eczema and things that what is the first step for someone with eczema? Just say what's the first step that they should take as far as like, you know, skin routines, just everything. What would you say would be the first?
First of all, if their eczema is bad enough, they should see a dermatologist to get on medication. That's one. But things that they can do on their own is help manage their eczema with gentle skincare. So again, using washes, face washes, body washes that are pH balanced for the skin, things that have ceramides, that won't strip their natural skin barrier. That's number one. Two, when they do bathe, either face or body, it needs to be lukewarm water. I know that sounds terrible and everybody hates lukewarm, but this is what we advise. And then when you go to dry your skin, pat dry, don't rub dry with the towel. And then immediately when your skin is still a little damp, you want to start applying moisturizers that will help keep that water in and help lock it in. So again, moisturizers with ceramides, hyaluronic acid, shea butter is also really nice for that. Any kind of body oils will help keep that moisture in.
And also, my girl, she also has eczema as well. Would you say that specific intake, like, are people with eczema like prone to certain things? Like, do they have to be extra sensitive with a lot of stuff as far as like, you know, intake?
Like food-wise?
Yes, food-wise.
You know, most people who have eczema are usually diagnosed in childhood. So they usually, if it is related to food, that usually gets diagnosed then. It doesn't usually show up later in life, food allergies, for people with eczema specifically. But if that is the case, seeing an allergist and a dermatologist is always important to get that evaluated. For sure.
Can I piggyback up for that question?
Yeah.
Can you grow out of it, and can you develop it later on in your life?
Anything is possible. You usually don't develop it later in life. It usually shows up in childhood. And you don't necessarily grow out of it, but it kind of like morphs. So usually in childhood it can be on the arms and the trunk and the face. But as you get older, it usually just represents itself in your hands and your feet. So it kind of just changes a little bit. But if you do all these skincare advice that we recommend, you can really manage it and minimize it, and it can appear to have gone away. Yeah.
Because I grew up with eczema.
Yeah.
On my arms and my belly.
Yeah.
Washing up with Dove soap helped a lot, and lukewarm water.
Yep. And moisturize the second you get out of it.
I didn't ever moisturize.
Actually, I did leave something out when I was younger. I had pityriasis gaucher. Is that more something that you can catch, or is that something that you're prone to from birth?
No, nothing that you're prone to. It's actually from a viral infection. Yeah, and it's usually a one-time thing because you build up antibodies to that virus and it never happens again.
That's exactly what happened with me. I've never seen it again.
Yep.
These spots all over my body, and these specific soaps.
Yep, exactly.
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't know if we spoke about active ingredients, or how, because obviously we have a lot of, a few active ingredients, which can actually affect sensitive skincare. What's the best routine on using, do you have to use an active, very active ingredient? Do you use it once a day or twice a day? what's the best routine to manage active ingredients, especially if you have sensitive skin?
We talked about it a little bit earlier, using it very slowly. So first, I always recommend the sandwich technique, so using the moisturizer first, then your active, and then a moisturizer on top. But I would say, like for retinol, we always recommend 3 times a week, a slow start. But if it's a vitamin C or another active, maybe just once or twice a week, and see how it goes after a week, and then if you can incorporate it more frequently. But usually we do like 3-week intervals, so if you're going to do 3 times a week for 3 weeks, and then after that try to do every other night for 3 weeks, and then if you can finally get to every night, go for it.
That was one question because I do know that even the time of the day you use some of these active ingredients do matter. Sometimes some are better at night and some are better in the morning.
Right. So retinols are usually better at night. I would say nasalic acid I would probably use at night also. To start, your anti-pigment ones like kojic acid are definitely better at nighttime, so that you use your sunscreen in the morning. But vitamin C we always recommend in the morning. It's just always recommended to start your day. But you can, if you want, start all these things at bedtime just to see how you do overnight. Yes.
Someone with rosacea, can they use retinol?
Yes. I actually always recommend retinols for people with rosacea, but again, you want to do a very, very slow start. And if you have a percentage on it, you want to go for your lowest percentage and make sure if it's the over-the-counter retinol, that it's mixed in with a nice moisturizer. You want to do a sandwich technique as well to start. But if you're doing a prescription strength one, again, we recommend 3 nights a week, do your lowest strength, and do your sandwich technique.
Sounds good. Thank you so
But
much.
it's okay for sensitive skin and for people with rosacea, because rosacea is one of the most sensitive skin conditions out there.
Would you recommend not eating spicy food?
A lot of people recommend not eating spicy food, but I don't know if I'd be able to live like that. I
Yeah,
can
like that. Should be a doctor because she knows she has like the best reaction for every question because it's like she kind of does that particular thing that they say you should do is probably a media ad or something. Like it's so funny because like I do agree some of the names of the products or some of the it's all trend. So some people it's just like they want you to follow that trend, buy the product, but it doesn't really solve the problem.
But a lot of people with rosacea, there are food triggers. For example, we talk about nuts. Certain nuts can be a trigger. Certain hot drinks or coffees or teas. For some people, certain cheeses or certain wines. So I don't know if it's necessarily the spicy food, but it could be what's with the spicy food that could be triggering rosacea.
For me, it's mostly when I use hot water on my face. And just rosacea just bursting off the blood vessels.
So there's 4 different types of rosacea, but the main characteristic is the erythrotelangiectatic, which is the redness that people get. But a lot of people do get pimples, like papules and pustules associated with it. And when those break out, it usually is sometimes, not usually, a lot of times it has to do with something that they ate the day before. So we recommend a food journal. But definitely like hot teas, hot coffees, and hot water can definitely get you there.
Which, another off-topic question, but would you say that eye creams actually are beneficial? Because I don't know if it's doing anything, because I'll use it, days on it. I know it's a sleep thing.
Well, it depends on what you're trying to do with eye. What are you trying to treat with your eye cream?
Like
Dark circles. So eye creams that have caffeine and retinol can be helpful because the caffeine can constrict the blood vessels to kind of take away that dark look, and then retinol will help build collagen to help with the shallow and the hollowness. So yes, but there's no miracle eye cream out there. Yeah.
tea bags.
Some people
I've heard about that.
Definitely.
not scalding hot, but a little moist, and then
Right, because tea also can vasoconstrict, so that's something because it's caffeine. Yes.
Oh, and I heard the vitamin C, right?
Vitamin C builds collagen, so yes.
Would you recommend scalding in the eye cream?
As a moisturizer and a hydrator, absolutely. Yeah, because the eyes can be very sensitive. Yeah.
When we put it on, I know it's top, right?
Yeah.
But do we put it on the top?
You can. Most people complain about the bottom though, the lower eyelid. So it depends on where your concern is. Yeah.
Is there anything
to like avoid in the sense of like putting on retinol and then putting on vitamin C? Like they cancel each other out? Is there?
They don't cancel each other out. They're both actives that can be drying and irritating, so I wouldn't put them on together. We always recommend vitamin C in the morning and then retinol at bedtime. Because you know retinol will get broken down by the sun.
And then, sorry, and then anything like you were saying with AHA toners and stuff, same thing, like a little too sensitive, also follow with either retinol or vitamin C separate.
When my patients do AHAs and BHAs and a retinol or retinoid, I have them do them on different nights. So when you do the AHA or the BHA, the next night you would do the retinol or the retinoid.
And 24 hours is enough? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is the professional needle shot service and patches? What do you call them?
Needle shots?
Yeah. So it's like 1,000 needles. You try kind of rub, and your skin feels like it's all 1,000 like needles.
Like the
And sometimes they put them retinol or hyaluronic acid.
Yeah. So it depends on how deep that needle is that's going in. So no more than like 2 or 3 millimeters is going to be appropriate because then you're getting too far in. And like I said, if you're going to do a retinol, just do like a patch area first and see how you tolerate it. And then if you're okay, you can continue. But if it's hyaluronic acid, you should be okay.
So do you think it's really working, or if you need to go to the clinic and do it professionally?
What are you trying to treat? I'm not sure what you're saying.
I feel like improving my skin tone or maybe small scars, let's say.
Okay, so for acne scars, she probably needs to have an actual
You mean laser?
or microneedling or something else. Yeah. But if it's for moisturization and like hydration, the ones with hyaluronic acid are very good.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. For someone who loves hyaluronic acid and uses it every day, like 3 times a day, do you think my skin will
Earlier you mentioned that AHAs and BHAs on being morning and for the night. Can you go into like more description of like what I don't really know the difference between the two?
So I didn't say that.
Oh,
But you're not supposed to do at all, or you're
Sorry, Sue.
I mean, when you use like even the lower percentages, are you not supposed to do at all, or is that like normal in the beginning, or?
It's normal in the beginning to feel a little bit, to just have some flaking. But then in that case, I would say maybe not do it every day, do like every 3 days. So you build up a tolerance to the irritation, but you won't build up a tolerance to the efficacy. So it's always good to start out slow and make sure you use the pea size amount. Yeah.
If you recommend someone with rosacea using those products,
Retinols?
like the BHA,
If you can tolerate it, but again, to go slow and maybe just do a patch first and see how it goes. Yeah. But I also mentioned the PHAs, the polyhydroxy acids, are going to be the bigger molecules, so they don't get absorbed as well and they don't irritate as much. So I would start with a PHA before an AHA or a BHA. Yeah. Glucogalactone, galactone, they're the G. I can Google it. I forget.
I feel like I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, because they're not as popular for whatever reason. Got into market or why people use them. If anything, I would say just use a serum if you're looking for the active in the toner, because I think they're really drying, especially for people with sensitive skin.
And that's the opposite of what I was considering. Like after cleansing, you need the toner to saturate your skin a little bit so that the other stuff you put on serums or whatever is gonna like absorb into your skin better.
But then by not rushing out, you're stripping your skin barrier, and that's going to be terrible for people with sensitive skin. So I advise against that.
Very opposite.
Yeah, I keep hearing this one.
I don't know. We don't say that as dermatologists. No dermatologists say that. It's not part of our skincare advice.
What are your thoughts about those like midday spritzes they send to refreshers.
Yeah, they're nice and hydrating. Usually they're thermal waters. Yeah, they're nice. Yeah, if they're feeling dry. Yeah.
So you recommend this. I would feel like it's just like for people who like, yeah, just buy it. And then you feel like you're fresh because it's liquid on your skin. But I've had like mixed reviews depending on what brand I'm using. So I'm like, is it really working or is it even good for my skin?
It's good for sensitive skin because it'll add a layer of hydration. I'm blanking on the first one that has it, but like La Roche-Posay has a thermal spray. That's really nice.
Because I've used coffee.
This one, coffee. I'm not sure what's in it.
It's like supposed to be grape based. Well, because that's the
Because
whole
they have
purpose of
resveratrol,
it.
which is a nice anti-inflammatory. Is that in their water spray also?
I think so. But yeah, because they're Caudalie, the whole premise for them is based on grapes because they're from a vineyard. So I guess it just depends on.
I have it too.
Yeah,
They
it's
use
terrible.
like they say like they use different parts of the grape in every product.
Oh, that's right. It's resveratrol. Yeah, okay.
Maybe another part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
The skin.
Right. Yeah.
Great, yeah, please go. I love the Elf skin drops, the Thirst Burst drops. It's very hydrating and it has a nice aroma. Would you recommend I also use a jelly cream on top of that. A jelly cream by Innisfree, the cherry blossom. I feel like I wake up and I'm like glowing.
Yeah.
It's like a glow jelly. Like, would you recommend layering those?
If you can tolerate them, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, you have great skin, so whatever you're doing great. That's great.
Yeah. One quick question. Is there a level where you overuse lotions, cream, and all of that? It becomes kind of affects your skin. Like, what's the threshold?
So, if you have sensitive skin and you're using lots of moisturizers to hydrate and lock in moisture, you're not going to damage your barrier. You're not going to cause any like extra irritation on your skin. You can't overdo it like that. But if you are using a lot of products that are very oil-based, you can be overdoing it, since you're going to clog your pores and then lead to breakouts. So that's the only thing I worry about, overuse of these ingredients. I would never recommend like Vaseline or like shea butter on the face because a lot of people have, can clog their pores. There are other oils and other things that you can use. But when it comes to sensitive skin and hydration, you can never overdo it.
I actually had a question on that too because I heard that you can use, your moisturizing stuff and then to lock that in you put like a smidge of like petroleum jelly on top. I don't know.
I don't know what's recommended for the face. I've just seen a lot of people get clogged pores and acne breakouts from it. There are other ones. Aquaphor is a little safer for the face. It doesn't have that thick petrolatum as much as regular Vaseline does. And other oils would be better.
Yeah, I use the Aquaphor.
Yeah.
But also with the body, people are saying use the lotion and then oil. Would you recommend that one?
Because it's thinnest and thickest is what we always recommend, and the oil will help lock it in, the moisturizing. Yeah.
So the moisturizer is thinnest?
If it's a lotion, usually it's thinner than an oil. Even though an oil feels liquidy, it's thicker for whatever reason. Yeah.
And then is there anything else to use after the oil? Or?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thoughts about castor oil?
Oh, yes.
Not on the face. I know a lot of people use it on the hair to help grow hair. I haven't seen it be effective for that, but it's definitely a nice moisturizer. If your skin, your scalp skin barrier is feeling irritated, those can definitely help for that.
Put it in their belly button. Have you heard of that?
Put it in your belly button?
People put the castor oil in their belly button, they put a patch over and sleep overnight and like see it.
That's weird.
To moisturize your belly button?
No, it like goes in and then it.
That's another trend.
Or something. I don't know.
My belly button.
Debugged right here.
Yeah, like I don't know about that.
Unless you have someone sniffing your belly button.
I think we're on this thing. Yeah. Do we have any other questions?
I just have one more. With like the seasonal allergies, is there any like I'm like trying to prepare my skin for that, like because I think it is more sensitive. Is there anything else like additional I can do? Like I do serum like moisturizer, sunblock. Like I keep putting on sunblock every few hours. Is that enough?
I would incorporate like the vitamin C because it's an antioxidant, and that will kind of keep any of the free radicals or pollutions from the air off. Because you probably have sensitive eyes and sensitive nose.
Oh yeah, everything is like
yeah. So that can kind of help as a benefit to that.
What about vitamin K? Is that
You can see vitamin K.
No, I haven't used it.
I haven't seen it in any skincare.
As a girl who wears a makeup, how are you supposed to reapply sunblock or
The powder is probably your best bet. Like the products that have like the SPF powder, like a mineral brush, or the Color Science has the clear one too, so it won't change the color of your makeup. That's probably your best bet. You know, it's hard.
Great. And get like the ears too, or the neck and ears.
Don't forget the ears.
So I'm gonna say thank you, Doctor. You have a question?
One more question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going back to the AHA.
Yep.
I have exfoliant. Do you still recommend like not using retinols with those too? Even if it's still like I wash it off and everything?
Not the same day.
Not the same day still?
Yeah. Not the same
So
day.
it will like damage your skin barrier, right? Okay. I'm gonna stop doing that.
Yeah. Alternate.
Great. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't know if you have one more question from anyone. If you have a question before we.
Do you think like athletes or people who are like physically active more prone to acne? And if so, like how should we wash your face like after games and stuff?
Yeah, I would say probably because you're sweating a lot as an athlete, and your sweat is going to compete with just your natural skin breathing. So if your sweat is sitting on your skin too long, it's going to kind of clog the pores or occlude the pores. So your best bet is when you're done exercising, even just take water and splash it on your face and just try and get that sweat off. It's going to help unclog the pores. Yeah, yeah.
Great.
On that note, I keep reading like you're not supposed to exercise too much if you have rosacea. Like, but people are like, you have to exercise.
Don't listen to them.
I read it on like those medical like websites.
Oh my god.
So I'm taking it as fact.
But it's using a dedicated towel for the face is ideal, right?
That's a better idea, yeah.
So it makes your butt.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining. I hope you guys had a very good time with Dr. Amy. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know we're still here. First of all, I hope you guys were able to join the waiting list for Ashiri Beauty. We should have another upcoming event next month, so I'll make sure that I connect with this whole group. Thank you. And for those that have been at the first one and came again, thank you all. I appreciate it. I hope you guys are able to learn so much. I hope you guys are able to share this with people that you know on your social media. That's very helpful for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for the great questions. Great questions. Thank you.
We got 5.
Well, are you going to take a walk? Because I know you said it's close by. Maybe October. So we have enough time. It's just meeting up with having just have fun. They had a help. It was so
Nobody has
it. Roger.